आप सभी ने कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी ये एड्स तो देखे ही होंगे, पर क्या आप इनको बनाने वाले की कहानी जानते हैं? नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बड़ी हुई, 20 की उम्र में शादी कर आप पहुंची मुंबई, एक छोटे से सपने के साथ, लेखक बनने के। और इसी सपने को लेकर वो आप पहुंची एडवर्टाइजिंग वर्ल्ड में, एक मेल डोमिनेटेड इंडस्ट्री, जहां उन्होंने अपने काम से अपने नाम का परचम लहराया और उसी कंपनी की क्रिएटिव डायरेक्टर बनी जिस कंपनी ने उन्हें रिजेक्ट किया था। पर एक महिला के लिए करियर में आगे बढ़ना इतना आसान कहाँ होता है। फैमिली को चुनते हुए वो एड वर्ल्ड से 7 साल तक दूर रही, पर उनकी कहानी वही खत्म नहीं होती है। वो फिर से लौटी और इस एड वर्ल्ड में अपने काम से अपने नाम का परचम फिर से लहराया। तो आइए जानते हैं नंदिता चलम की पूरी कहानी।
At Ogilvy, Piyush was the king. He liked being called God. Got married at the unbelievably early age of 20. One of my father's friends was observing us from the neighboring hill with a pair of binoculars.
People do associate advertising as a very glamorous profession.
Shah Rukh said, "Arey jaldi aa jao, otherwise we'll all have what son? We'll have grandchildren here only."
Yeah.
So in about 4 years, I was earning as much as my dad was. People I have hired are now senior to me.
If you could create a campaign to unadvertise something,
Pons baby ki yaar aajkal nahi hai na, we killed it. It is about time that we started treating celebrities as ordinary human beings. Nambi-pambi, Shah Rukh, and we always knew he was gay. In advertising, where you're only as good as your last campaign.
so namaste Nandita ma'am, welcome to the show Kissebazi.
So, namaste to you as well. I'm so happy to see my students back.
You had a very crazy life and achievements. Whether you go with advertisement or personal life also, you come from Assam and been in Bombay and made a name for yourself. Like you were one of it who came from a very, because it's very sad, but now also Northeast or Assam,
Yes.
we don't consider them as like, they can do things and all. We think, oh, it's a backward area.
Yes,
They'll be like, okay, they don't know anything. Oh, Bombay se शहर में आके चकाचौंध देख के उनका बस. So it's been a very great journey for you, and I know ki it would have been very difficult being in an advertising agency or as a media industry. It's very difficult to sustain for a longer period of time, and you've been here for a very long
Get
time.
into details of how long.
And right now I think you're living it, but you can't detach it from yourself, so the consultancy's been there with you.
Yes.
So how was it?
Okay. First of all, Piyush, and I want to say that a lot of people feel that the Northeast is very backward, and how did you come from Assam and make it in Mumbai? In fact, my own son, when we went to Shillong, my school and all that, and he said, hats off to you, Mom, for coming from such a place and, making it in Mumbai. And I have a friend who lives in Pedder Road who also keeps saying that, coming from the Northeast, you made it in Mumbai. But, the thing is that the Northeast is not that backward. In many ways, like Shillong, where I grew up, is a highly westernized kind of place. It's like the hub of rock music.
Yeah.
And even though it's remote in terms of geographical distance, it's not as if because we're in the Northeast, we are less educated, less whatever. I mean, schools were very good. In fact, I had a very idyllic, almost like Enid Blytonish upbringing in a hill station. Of course, I didn't know of advertising. That's true. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I used to always write well. I knew I could write well. When I was in boarding school, I used to write letters to my parents and my grandparents, and they would keep the letters, and those were the days of inland letters. So no emails. They would keep the letters and show it to their friends, and this is what she's written, that's what she's written. I was always like, I wanted to be a writer of books, but my mom and dad seriously discouraged me because it's normal. Nobody thinks that writing is a profession.
Yeah.
How will she make a living
out of it.
God, you must not drop economics because at least you can join a bank, you know. So arts. And so that same mindset exists even today. I mean, out of goodwill, my parents said that, look, I was very good in studies. I used to top the class. So dad said that join IAS. You'll get it easily. So I was thinking I'd do my IAS. At worst, I'd become a college professor. Then I got married at the unbelievably early age of 20. And I was still in college. I got married.
Okay.
And my husband brought me to Bombay. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here. Then he's an MBA from IIM Calcutta and engineer, and a lot of his friends were in advertising, Rediffusion, Clarion, etc. And so when we were chatting and I was asking them, what should I do now? Because my parents said she's very clever, so she has to continue studying. And so my poor hubby got me MA admission forms and all. So I was going to do my MA. Then these guys told me that in advertising, there's something called copywriting, since you're a good writer. And it seemed like made for me, you know. So I said, bas, main wo yahi karungi. Coming from Shillong, where I used to top my school, everybody will open their doors with big arms and take me in. But nothing like that happened. Lintas was the big, famous ad agency of those days. I just walked into Lintas thinking that I'd just get a job now because I'm such a good writer. But the creative director didn't even come out to meet me. They used to have this concept called a copy test.
Yeah.
So they gave me a copy test. I did it, left it at reception, and they said that, you know, don't call us, we'll call you back. And of course, they never called me back. And I realized कि ऐसे कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. So I started looking at ads, and then there was an ad looking for a copywriter in some very small agency called Adroit. So I applied, and there I got in. You know, the agency was in that building where Zara was now, you know, in that corner of
The Flora
Fountain.
Oh.
It was not such a fancy building then. We had to sort of struggle to go to the loo and all. It was not a very comfortable place. I realized I can't be here for very long. I quickly moved to another agency called Shilpi, which was owned by the Sarabhai Group.
Yeah.
And it was in Ballad Estate, lovely office. Okay. And then I must say that after that initial struggle of trying to get into Lintas, after that I've never had to apply for a job again, because from Adroit to Shilpi, somebody who knew me at Adroit called me to Shilpi. From Shilpi to Leo Burnett, somebody who knew me at Shilpi called me to Leo Burnett. From Leo Burnett to Lintas, where somebody who knew me at Leo Burnett then called me to Lintas, they called me to Lintas. And I was thinking that, should I tell them that I came and did a copy test here? किसी ने मुझे मिलने को भी नहीं आया. Now you all are begging me to join, you know. So I kind of really pushed my luck hard those days at Lintas, and I told Alec Padamsi that, you know, I didn't get a job here. So he laughed, and then I asked for some astronomically high money. Because I was like, I had that little khunnas, na, they treated me badly, now I must. So Alec told me, listen, is it some kind of a, what did you say? What is that? Auction?
Oh.
Nandita going at this rate. If not, he says, no, if you're coming at this much money. Because Leo Burnett is a very good paymaster. They gave me a lot of money to stay back. And Alec gave me this dialogue of, आना है तो आओ, इतने में आ जाओ. We are not going to raise it anymore. I was so keen to join Lintas, so I joined at a lower price than what Leo Burnett was offering me to stay. So it took me a while to make it up. I always have that one regret. And I worked at Lintas for about 4.5 years till we left for Africa.
So going back to your childhood, you talked about the boarding school experience. How was it, and how did you feel when you were in the boarding school away from home? And then,
see, I was in boarding school not for a very long time. Okay. It's just because my father took up a job in a remote part of Assam. You all think even in Assam, this was Namrup Duliajan. He was setting up the gas pipelines. So there were no schools there. So I had to stay back in Shillong, and where we were staying earlier, and went to boarding school. My grandmom couldn't speak English.
Okay.
So she was my local guardian, and she would come and she would speak in Hindi to the nuns, and I used to be very embarrassed, I must confess. I used to tell her, Aita, don't come. And I was so mean, I realized that just because she could speak English, I thought that, like she shouldn't come and, meet the nuns and all that. But I found that she set up a great friendship with the Mother Superior, my grandmother. I don't know what they used to speak, because the Mother Superior could hardly speak Hindi and my granny could hardly speak English, but somehow they became friends. And now I realize that how stupid I was, that I didn't want my grandmother visiting me. She would always come with food and snacks, and the rest of the girls would be very happy. Oh, Nandita's granny's come, we'll get this, we'll get that. And I used to tell her, don't come.
I think at this age that happens.
Yeah, when you're young, you are
very conscious.
You're
of it.
conscious about silly things.
Yeah.
Like, your grandmother can't speak English. So what? She was very cool, I realized.
Any other silliest thing you were conscious about when you were like in school or at a very young
So
age?
many. I mean, I was very stupid. If I say all of the things, you will laugh at me. In Shillong, we used to have this concept of brother-sister schools. Okay, so I was in Loreto. The other good school was St. Edmunds,
Okay.
where my brothers and cousins would study. And there were other convent schools like St. Anthony's, St. Mary's, which were not considered very posh and not considered of the same standard, maybe because the fees were lower.
Okay.
And some boy from St. Anthony's, which was not the posh school, wrote some letter to me,
Okay. Yeah.
and the nuns used to intercept everything. So they called my parents and said some boys are writing to her. And I got into trouble because of that,
Okay.
because I had never asked him to write to me. So I wrote such a stinker to him saying that, how dare you, St. Anthony's boy, dare to write to a Loreto girl. These stupid notions of superiority. And he got very angry and he wrote a even more nasty letter back.
Oh,
And I got into even more trouble that we told you to not interact. Why did you write back to him? I said, look, he got me into trouble and I was very upset about it. So, etc. Much later, when we were older, I met that boy and we laughed about it. But then it was, like I said, I had very stupid priorities in life. Like I wanted to keep my image and izzat like one, I don't know what, which nobody else appreciated.
no, I guess I totally understand because जब मैं अभी स्कूल में था, we have studied together.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, we are from childhood.
Oh.
From nursery we have been together.
Okay.
So I also faced at PTM, my parents were not there, so I was like, yeah, nahi aaya to hi badhiya hai. Let it be, let it be. I don't want to.
And but y'all are in this internet generation. Y'all didn't write physical letters to girls, no?
Did, ma'am, of course. To impress, we
to
have
impress,
to.
yeah? Okay.
Because if everybody's writing texts, you to do something different, you have to write a letter.
Okay.
It feels more personalized.
Yeah, it is true. Today, if you write a letter, it just certainly feels more personalized. But I was not in the state of mind to sort of interact with St. Anthony's boys, because we thought only St. Edmund's boys were good enough for us. So St. Edmund's boys, if they wrote to me, I would be okay with it, but not the St. Anthony's.
They wrote to you.
Yeah, they did. Those boys I encouraged.
So any a school memory or childhood memory you want to share?
We used to we were really innocent. We used to
Yeah.
walk to school together, going up a hill full of pine trees and all that.
It must be very beautiful.
It was very beautiful, but I didn't know that one of my father's friends was observing us from the neighboring hill with a pair of binoculars. And he informed my dad that she's going to school with a St. Edmund's boy. So from the next day, my dad said that I will drop you to school. So I was very upset because I didn't want my dad to drop me to school. Much later, I found out that Manik uncle is the one who made this sudden desire of my dad to drop me to school. So that was the end of one romance. And anyway, like I said, I told you I got married at 20 when I was still in college.
But how was it how did you feel when you get married so early? I think at that time it was.
It was not, no, but 20 was considered very early even then.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's
it
why.
was considered very early. But the thing is that, like, my husband was posted in the Northeast, and that's where we met. In fact, he was working with my dad, and he kind of promised my parents that she'll continue with her studies, and she, I'll not
Okay.
sort of come in the way and all that. So, yeah, so it was not a problem. So we got married, and then I came here. Only thing is, I didn't continue with my studies. I joined advertising.
But that's like a fate. I think.
Yeah, it was fate. And my dad and all were not too happy with the fact that I joined advertising. They didn't think it was a great thing to do. But then, like I told you, in the 80s when I joined advertising, advertising was a highly paying profession.
Yeah.
So in about 4 years, I was earning as much as my dad was. And when I showed him my pay slip, he stopped, saying that
now
that you made a wrong decision. In fact, he used to reach out to me to help him financially and stuff like that. Yeah. So those days have changed. It's not like advertising is the best paid profession today. Sorry for you guys. But yes, there are other ways in which people are making a lot of money today, and I think you guys are in the right direction.
Yeah, that's like you have to find some different ways.
Yes.
Advertising was the big it at that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Now they think
There's
that
lots of glitz and glamour, and
Yeah.
nobody questions. Like I've taught you all in class. No? It
Yeah.
was the days when we used to earn 15% commission. So
Yeah.
every time a company spent 100 rupees, the agencies got 15 rupees.
Talking about the advertising, you have like gone through the best era of it, and right now also you're continuing. You
Yeah.
are seeing it, you're
Yeah,
studying
yeah.
about it, and
Yeah,
you're reading
yeah.
about it, and
Yeah.
you know because of the students teaching. So that's
Yes.
why you are very connected, much connected with that.
Yes.
So, what is the 3 biggest changes or differences you see from your time to now in advertising as a profession, as a working agencies or anything like?
Advertising agencies used to be the one-stop shop for clients for everything. They
Okay.
claim to the ad agency for their television films, for their radio spots, for their print ads, for their direct mail, for their media planning, for media release. So everything was in under one roof. Okay. So, and there would be like a client service manager who would meet the client for one thing. There would be a creative director, one. So the client didn't have to meet different people for different needs. Okay. And that's why the salaries and everything was higher. Then I've taught you all in class, the unbundling of the advertising agencies happened, that Thanos thing, where suddenly media separated, digital became a big thing, it separated. Now, there is no one-stop contact for clients. And therefore, the same budget has got fragmented among so many other things. And therefore, the clients are also wondering, should I put more money in digital where the results are tangible and measurable, or should I put it in mainline where you don't know whether it's worked or not? So things have changed because of the fragmentation of advertising. It's no longer everything under one roof and everything with one person. One creative director would handle everything. Okay, he would have specialists under him, some who are very good at direct mail, some who are very good at radio, some who are very good at television. But the thinking and the creative direction would be the same. That is the biggest change that has happened in advertising, the fragmentation. And the other big thing is that I don't know, because I've worked right up to 2019, and I know that towards the end, the advertising people, I think, also started becoming a little bit scared of losing clients, because clients were constantly shifting from one to the other.
Right.
So people would not insist on something that is, which they deep down think is actually the correct thing to do. But they feel that if they argue with the client too much, the client will just take the business away. So people would give in very easily. And therefore, some of the biggest creative ideas would get killed. The whole reason why advertising people are different from marketing people is that their brains work differently, right? So if you come up with a creative idea which a client doesn't understand immediately, I think it is your job to explain to the client and carry them with you. Very often that is not done because agencies are now very scared to lose the business because they feel, clients feel that these people are constantly rejecting my thoughts and they are let me go to somebody who agrees with me, and therefore the work that is coming out is very cookie cutter, boring, once in a way,
generic kind
very
of
generic,
safe.
very safe. Once in a way, you can see great sparks coming out of Zomato, out of Durex, out of Swiggy. But you can see that these are people who are doing their work in-house. There is nobody standing on their heads to approve or reject, So when we were working, even though we were not in-house, we had that kind of equation with our clients where our clients would trust us. And they treated us almost like part of their marketing team. I mean, there is no end to the amount of market visits I have done in Lodi Nagar and, wherever Lux is sold, wherever it is sold. We really knew the market, the target audience. We knew how they think, we knew how they live. And these clients used to invest money in us. Like, go meet your actual target audience. Like, your client is not you, Nandita, sitting in Bandra. Like, your target audience is sitting in Jhumri Talaya. She gets money, she gets water only for 1 hour a day. So I went and met her. Then only we started making Rin, which, you don't need much water for rinsing off and stuff like that. So it was different because clients trusted you more. You also didn't, there are so many times I've fought heavily with clients for an idea, but they realize it's because of the idea I'm fighting. I'm not fighting for a personal thing. That seems to have gone. That's another big change that I see.
Truly, ma'am.
Yeah, because right up to 2019, I was working, and even now I do a lot of freelance work here and there. So I do realize what has happened, and some of it is good. I do actually think that the focus on digital is very good because it is very measurable for clients. It is very, you can see exactly when your money is not working and when it is working. But at the same time, the fact that digital seems to be the only thing that clients are focusing on all and completely ignoring maybe mainline work, where in India, television still holds a very big sway.
It does.
And so therefore, what I miss is the fact of the funny thing. You'll wonder what freelance work I do mostly. Some of my old clients are constantly calling me back to be the one person to give the whole lot of youngsters some tone and direction, because everybody's pulling in different directions. Everybody thinks their idea is good. And the fact that when we worked, we were the creative directors for the digital team, for the mainline team, for the radio team, for the direct marketing team, for everybody. So someone has to be there to make sure that everybody is pulling on the same side. Otherwise, your marketing boat is being pulled in very many directions, and therefore, you're not all going the same way. Unless you all row in the same direction. Maybe your skill is digital, maybe your skill is radio, maybe your skill is podcast, but everyone has to be going to the same direction. If you're selling whatever, what is XIC, your favorite product that everybody used to like to sell? Give me anything.
Like it's Spotify kind of.
Spotify. Okay. So Spotify, if Spotify is I know what Spotify's main problem is, that they're not getting enough paid. They're going for more. So everybody, the digital team, the radio team, everybody has to work towards getting paid customers, right? So that is what I nowadays mostly do. I come in as a person who is getting everybody to work in one big idea, one same direction.
Cred had done a thing where जहाँ पे उन्होंने celebrities को थोड़ा सा lower down कर दिया, and like they have pulled their leg.
Yes, yes.
And at every time we see everywhere, it's like we are pushing them towards like making them feel like they are god of it.
Yeah.
With Lux also you have done that.
Yes.
And everybody have done that.
Yeah.
So do you think, is it a good thing for stars? Because with these kind of ads right now, after Cred, everybody's doing it with the
Yeah.
Swiggy, Juhi Chawla,
Yeah.
or I guess
Yeah,
after that many
Even the Dream 11 ads.
Dream 11
Yes,
right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
So do you think that their stardom is going like,
No, I
for
don't
a-
think there's. I think it is about time that we started treating celebrities as ordinary human beings and putting them on such a pedestal and saying like, you are God, my baap, please. That doesn't work anymore. No, you guys are the target audience. Are you going to believe it when Amitabh Bachchan says that I use a TVS scooty? It's not credible. You have to be real, and everybody loves to see a celebrity being pulled down
Yeah.
a peg or two. I did it for Lux when I used Shah Rukh.
Yeah.
He was so sporting. He let the girls push him into the tub, and he says, "Unko chahiye tha ek superstar, main hu na," and then all the girls pushed him down. Okay, so that is so much more refreshing. Even like. That aviation gin and Newman coffee, the Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, they are constantly pulling each other down.
Yeah.
I think when celebrities are used like that, and Cred does it very well today. Yeah. And I love the Dream 11 ads where you really sort of make a little fun of the celebrity or have fun at their expense. I think that seems to be working better with celebrity advertising today.
because in the Dream 11 right now,
Yeah.
they are also fighting with their insecurity. They're accepting it.
Correct.
With Amir Khan, they are saying you're Chotu.
Your Chotu.
Height and
Yeah.
all.
Height nahi hai. And also the whole thing about there is a Ranveer and they are constantly getting mixed up, and so pick the real weakness and make an ad out of it. It's good
They are also
fun.
being a sport to it.
I think they're being very sporting, and I also think that they enjoy doing such ads more rather than being put on like a very big pedestal.
They are also tired being there.
I though really, in my days in advertising, I had such this constant war with Lux that, we must treat the celebrities like normal human beings. I only managed to do it with Shah Rukh. Huh? After that, back to Katrina bathing, like, वो मुझे पसंद नहीं था, लेकिन करना पड़ा.
But
Yeah.
पहले आपने बात करी थी like you had to fight for your ideas with the clients. What was the like biggest fight or the funniest fight you had for an idea with the client?
I've had many fights with many clients, but the biggest fight was this only, the Shah Rukh Khan in the tub. Because it was 75 years of Lux when we did it, that was now 20 years ago. I just thought कि कुछ तो अलग करना चाहिए, let's not just have the same stars at same star. So we'd already signed on 4 of the great grand Lux stars of the past. I just put Shah Rukh into the mix and said that instead of putting the girls in the tub, let's put the boy in the tub. And it really cut through and it really worked well for the... And now everybody is saying that they were part of that campaign because it worked. But I remember that the brand manager himself was absolutely dead against it. He says, how can you make fun of your own brand? This is like spoofing your own brand. If somebody else spoofs it, it's all right. But you're spoofing your own brand. You're making fun of your own brand. It doesn't work. We've always been the films, the soap of the film stars, the beautiful film stars. We've signed on Hema Malini and Juhi and Sridevi. Kareena was the current Lux star. So he was having none of it. I just got lucky that the guy above him, the category head as they call in levers, he loved the idea. He said, no, we will go with it. We will go with it. But the brand manager was not convinced. We actually had to do research for this ad. And today, in the days of AI and all, so easy to put Shah Rukh's face. We had to like literally cut paste Shah Rukh's face and research the ad. Luckily, it did well in research. If it didn't do well in research, I wouldn't have been allowed to do it. And in real life, it did even more better.
Yeah.
I mean, Lux overtook Lifebuoy's sales after that ad for a while. Lifebuoy is the highest selling Hindustan Lever soap. And now the same brand manager, of course, says that, like, you know, we did it. I mean, I don't mind. I'm very happy that he owns the campaign as his own.
Yeah, that was then. But
Yeah.
with the Lux campaign, it was very unorthodox for
Very
that time.
unorthodox, yeah.
So
Some
what,
people hated it. They said that, what is this namby-pamby Shah Rukh? And we always knew he was gay. And
I think I was about to ask that. How did you get that idea to put him in the?
yeah,
when-
it came. I was watching. We had signed on for female stars.
Yeah.
And I was watching Filmfare and I thought, let's put Shah Rukh in. And I wrote a new script. And I went to the client and we had almost finalized the other shoot. And if I didn't have the backing of this higher up client,
Category.
I have to take his name. Ashok Venkatramani was his name. He backed me. And then my colleagues in JWT, Varun Channa, they backed me. Everybody backed me.
Yeah.
Everybody loved the idea. So we all convinced the few who were, there were many people at Hindustan Lever who were against this. And so we managed to convince them and, we did it. So, but like when you have it and you're convinced, no, then they said if you can convince Shah Rukh to do it, because we were not sure that Shah Rukh would agree. no?
Yeah.
So me and Varun Channa went to Mannat. I was lucky because Shah Rukh loved the idea. He not only loved the idea, he added things to it, you know. I had written something about which Lux star would you want to bathe with in your fantasy and all. He said, nahi, main ye sab karungi. Meri khoobsurati ka raaz. That's why I put it. So we had so much fun. And all the time he was in the tub and his skin, you know, when you sit in the waterfall, your skin becomes, so he wanted to come out, you know. So we're not letting him come out. I took my son. I said, I want to take pictures with my son. He was then small. So Shah Rukh said, "Are jaldi aa jao, otherwise we'll all have what son? We'll have grandchildren here only." And I've got a picture of Nikhil, me, and all the stars, and Shah Rukh in the tub. And all. It's really a picture I'll keep to show my grandchildren.
Yeah, it should
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
Now Shah Rukh is like, everybody who wants to like Mannat for anything, like it's been like everybody treats them like, oh,
Yeah.
they've achieved,
Yeah, correct.
been there.
Yeah.
So it's a little game now, ma'am. I just say some 5 to 6 names of people, and you'll have to like whatever comes to your
Are
mind.
these celebrity names?
No, ma'am, advertising people. I think you might know them. So
Okay.
closer to you.
Okay.
So whatever a brand you associate to them,
Mhm.
and one line or whatever first thing come to your head. That's it. It's a simple game. It's just
Okay.
let it be candid, or I hope it comes out good.
Yeah.
Starting, I think if you don't remember, you took our interviews for the XIC entrance. I don't know about others, but you took mine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Zoom call.
All right.
So, my name is Piyush. So the first thing you said, you are the same name as my old boss. So that was our icebreaker, and we talked about a lot of things and all.
Okay.
So first name I would like to say is like Piyush Pandey. A brand you would like to associate to him, and one line or one word you.
For me, Piyush, I cannot think of him without his big laughter, his mustache, and his teeth stained with that pan masala shit that he eats all the time. But the most wonderful, I mean, I'm eternally grateful to Piyush because I came back into advertising after a 7-year break because of Piyush Pandey.
A brand for his personality would be.
For his personality brand, Wagh Bakri Chai. Somehow I just feel he's kadak and he works, you know.
I guess very homely.
Yeah, very homely
To the ground.
and comfortable. Yeah. I don't think Piyush will be happy to be associated with Wagh Bakri Chai. I'm sure he would prefer something Land Rover or something, but I think of him in more earthy Indian brands.
Second would be our another professor, Josie Paul.
Josie Paul and his Nepali topi. He's branded himself very well, no?
Yeah.
With the topi. I mean, he's like got the look Correct. Josie and I were actually at XIC around the same time. Yeah. So he's a Josie, though I cannot but associate him with this aerial campaign that he does. Yeah, year after year after year. So brilliant.
Any other brand, like for his personality, like how is with the Nepali token, anything like how he is.
Since we are sticking to beverages and Piyush is Wagh Bukhari chai, I think Josie would be Nescafe. A little more westernized and refreshing.
Nice. Third one would be Alec Padamsi or
Alec Padamsi, my God, yes. I have the longest, warmest, even though he told me, are you going to the highest bidder? Alec Padamsi was a teetotaler himself. He never used to drink, though it doesn't seem like it. So Alec Padamsi, I'm going to stick to beverages and whatever. So Alec Padamsi will be Coca-Cola.
Now then, if I'll say Prasoon Joshi now, would it be very like...
Prasoon will be Coca-Cola. Na? So let's make Alec thumbs up. Too funny.
Too funny.
He was surely too funny.
Yeah. With the story Josie sir also told us,
he was truly too funny, and he liked being called God. Huh? At Lintas, he was called God. Yeah. And he had a secretary whose name was Jennifer Pope. And so the joke was, if you want to see God, you have to go through the Pope.
Truly. And Prasoon Pandey, like we'll go with that.
Prasoon Pandey is very talented and very correct and very, again, of the soil.
Yeah.
So, chas.
Refreshing.
Refreshing in an Indian way again. Yeah.
I think last, like Prasoon Joshi, and he like Coca-Cola for sure. But something about him, like whatever.
So I worked with Prasoon when we were in, he was also in Ogilvy. Yeah. And the something about Prasoon that maybe people don't know is that he's a very good singer. He's a very good singer. We had come back, we were going to Hindustan Lever for some presentation. I used to work on Kisan Annapurna at Ogilvy.
Okay.
And we were coming back, and in the car he was singing and so well. So I asked him, Prasoon, why didn't you ever take up singing? So he told me something that made me realize how the guy has really thought through his career, again, unlike someone like me who was going to join IAS, then stumbled into advertising. He says that, no, see, I know I sing well, but my voice is not very distinctive. It's very much like many other singers. But the way I write is very different from anyone else. And therefore, I went into writing rather than singing.
You talked about right now Prasoon Joshi, Piyush Pandey and everybody.
Yeah.
I think back in the days, right now, like as Tanmay Bhatt is considered as like people, you see an ad, you feel like, oh, they have done it.
Yes.
But it's not like that.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was like any ad like that with Prasoon was also in a shadow of somewhere Piyush.
No, I think everybody was in the shadow of Piyush. At Ogilvy, Piyush was the king. Prasoon was very good. Sonal Dabral was very good. Bobby Pawar was also very good. They were all very good.
Yeah.
Bobby was very good in English writing, Prasoon in Hindi, Sonal's art. So eventually, therefore, all these people broke away and then became like very good on their own.
Yeah.
But the mothership is Piyush.
Who do you think like can be the new Piyush Pandey for like advertising?
People have been doing stuff. You yourself have mentioned Tanmay.
Yeah.
Tanmay is, I know Tanmay personally because he used to be in the same college as my son, little senior. Always very like, if everybody is going Teda, he goes Meda. He's got that ability. So I think he's got it in him to be the next Piyush Pandey. And I'm sure there are many among you all. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a guy, huh? It can be a girl.
Yeah. I So moving forward, you talked about the gap for the 7 years in African.
Yes.
So it should be talked about, because in class also you have just mentioned it.
So what happened was that I was at Lintas after having joined, and I was doing extremely well at Lintas.
Yeah.
At that point of time, my husband, who's like 11 years older than me, had reached some kind of plateau in his own career.
Okay.
And he was also doing very well before that.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do something dramatically different, and he took up this job in Africa.
Okay.
And you know how it is in India, no? If your husband goes somewhere, and even if you will not, just for the sake of your career, stay back. So I went with him. But like career-wise, I think it was a very bad move for me, because just when I was doing extremely well and earning so much, I got awards and all that, and then I just left.
Yeah.
But of course, on the personal level, it worked out well, because my son was born, and then, you know, I really couldn't have perhaps carried on the high stress of advertising
At
with a
that
baby.
pace, yeah.
And so it worked out okay. But career-wise, I think it was a huge and difficult break for me. And then when we came back to India 7.5 years later, and he wanted to start his own business.
Okay.
He didn't want to work for someone else.
Yeah.
He told me, I think you should go back to advertise. So after 7.5, I was not planning to come back, you know.
Okay.
So after 7.5 years, I'm back to the old days I told you, no, as
Yeah.
again I started, but not this time. I didn't have to apply, because somebody told me that Piyush is looking, and I went and met him. And in advertising, where you're only as good as your last campaign. In those days, people remembered what you did last. 7.5 years, I am sitting in Africa, where it is not known for advertising. The grace of God was upon me, luck was upon me. Piyush remembered a campaign I had done just before I left for Johnson & Johnson Babies. That is a campaign that won me a lot of awards. And Ogilvy was trying to launch a Pond's baby care range. And, through industrial gossip, we got to know in Johnson & Johnson that Pond's is coming out with baby care. And Johnson & Johnson said that we have to protect our turf. So I did this campaign that nobody knows babies better than mothers, and Johnson & Johnson. That was the line. And then we did Language of Love, and also it was a very successful campaign, and it killed the Pond's baby care. Aajkal nahi hai, no? We killed it. It couldn't, at the beginning only we killed it. So Piyush was looking for the person who had done this ad and wanted to hire me in Ogilvy, but he was told that she's gone away to Africa. And it just by luck I came back and looking for a job. So he says, are you the person who did that when he saw my ads? I said, yes. He says, I was looking for you and somebody told me gone to Africa. So I said, me. So that's how I got the job in Ogilvy in like that, because he knew, even though it was 7.5 years ago, that I'm capable of doing a campaign like this. And it helped me to get back into advertising, which is very difficult after a big break. These girls will know. The moment you take a break, guys somehow have it easy. Guys don't take breaks. Even if there's a baby, whatever, they don't take a break. It's the woman who takes a break and then finds it difficult. When I came back, it was tough. At Ogilvy, suddenly I found people I have hired are now senior to me. It was not comfortable. That was a terrible thing.
Yeah, what was the challenge? Like the multiple, it's a different thing of like, aap bahar se aate ho, ab you're joining again, that is okay. Like, but you see, like just you mentioned, like the people you hired.
Luckily, I was not reporting into them. That would have made it more awkward, because there were at least 2 girls who I had hired when I was at Lintas, who were now at a more senior, because I joined at an associate creative director level and they were already creative directors, So I had to it was like claw my way back again to the top. It was very tough. Every time you're somehow now older than people at your own level, and so that was my toughest part.
Don't you think whenever we talk about stories, or whenever we got the assignment for the stories, people tend to go with the very emotional thing, or some like heart touching and all. Either comedy or either heart touching. There's nothing in between that. Either that or this works, because if you can make other person cry or emotional, make them feel, you think like, oh, you have done the job, or you make them laugh.
Yeah. No, but unfortunately, there are two things which always tend to work in advertising. One is emotion and one is humor. These two things work. But it is not as if these are the only things. I mean, you have something which stuns with a fact.
Yeah.
That would also work. Or you do something with amazing twists and turns like a Harlan Coben story. That would also work. I mean, it's not that you always have to, but yes, universally, not just for advertising, for films, for OTT content. The two things that tend to work in India and all over the world are humor and emotions, and that's why I don't blame your friends for all going into these two when they are trying to. Yeah,
That's good. That's good. So like, advertising has been, and you also mentioned, it's been a very much male dominated industry.
Yes.
When you entered without any background with the
Straight out of from the Northeast.
straight out from the Northeast, representing Shillong in Assam,
Yeah.
without any knowledge of it, without any like background in it,
Yeah.
without doing anything,
Yeah.
how difficult it was for you being a woman also.
Advertising actually even till now is a little bit of a boys club.
Yeah.
It is a boys club. You like see all these names that
Names
you
we have
asked me.
mentioned.
Piyush, Prasoon, Josie.
Josie.
There's no female out there, you
Yeah.
know. But I never thought about it so deeply. I don't think it's a very planned thing.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at my own life, just when I was doing so well, I went away because my husband took a job. So women tend to not prioritize their careers. Women tend to put family first. Okay. And maybe that's the reason why maybe there's no woman on top. But there have been women who have there was Elsie Nanji nowadays. At JWT, there was Tista Sen. She was quite well known. There is Kainaz at Ogilvy. But yes, maybe nobody's reached the Piyush's and the Prasoon's stature. Somebody in XIC once asked me that, ma'am, why didn't you reach the levels of these whatever? And it really got me thinking that maybe if I had not gone away to Africa at that point in my career, I might have become the chief creative officer of Lintas, where I was working and I was doing so well. But these are just speculation. You don't know. Yeah.
If you could create a campaign to unadvertise something, what would it be?
I hate this concept of high-end branded bags, clothes, for which you pay such a premium, you know. And you really look at the stuff, it's all bakwas. It's nothing in a Louis Vuitton bag, which makes it much better than I don't know.
Kolaba?
Like a Kolaba bag. Yeah. I want a good quality product. Okay. And I should be able to get that good quality product maybe from the karigar who makes it, maybe from the weaver who weaves it. You were telling me that I wear a lot of handlooms.
Yeah.
I like to wear handlooms. I like to wear handlooms because they are made by weavers, you know, and I feel I don't mind paying for that.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who's profiting off handlooms and saying this is Sabyasachi's handlooms and all, I will not pay, you know. This is one thing that really angers and irritates me, the branding obsession. The other thing, and I've been party to it a lot during my advertising days, is selling things for children's growth, like Cerelac and baby food.
Right now
it's really actually bad stuff. And poor people like your maids and all, they spend so much extra money buying Cerelac instead of giving the child the food that is in the house.
Yeah.
Breakfast cereals are all bakwas products. You know, your idlis, dosas, parathas are so much better. Told people in class also that when I was at Lintas, I have refused to work on Fair and Lovely because I feel that really plays on the insecurities of women, and being dark-skinned myself, I would hate to work on a brand like that. But so, I mean, it's not helping anybody because that brand is still very huge and it still does very well. And I believe men in the South buy more Fair and Lovely than anyone else. So at least it's all sexes, so that's okay.
And then this is all. And I think there are two more questions, but you have already answered that. So there's no
Yeah.
point of asking that. But one thing, like, I would like to ask you, like, you have lived the glorious and glamorous life of advertising.
Yes, yes.
Any, like, a story which is a go-to kissa to you, like, to flaunt, basically, like, I have done that. Oh, you haven't been there, but I have done that. A story you would like
There
to
are
tell.
so many stories like that. I mean, I have to tell you from the really glory days of advertising when we were in Lintas with Alec Padamse, okay? And Alec Padamse used to do a lot of theatre and plays.
Yeah.
And at Lintas, all of us copywriters, art directors, if Alec called you to work on his plays, like to write the poster, to write the song, or to write, design the poster. So, like when he called me to do Evita posters for him, which was starring his own wife, I was so happy, which actually meant I would have to work on Sundays and all. But stupidly, like, Alec has chosen me.
God has
so
chosen
God
you.
has chosen me. So I must be an angel at least. So that was happy, yes.
Any, like, glamorous, like, because I think till now,
Yeah.
people do associate advertising as a very glamorous profession, because you tend to in touch with the celebrities,
Stars and
or you
celebrities, yeah.
tap into that market. That's
Yeah.
why. And I think you have also, sorry to cut you, but
yeah.
you have also mentioned, like, a friend, you have been a light of the parties, because all your friends are like in boring like professions, so they used to call you for like some good stories about
I
advertising.
don't know where you heard this, but yes, what happens is not just with me. I noticed this with Nikhil, with many of my advertising and creative friends. Maybe we are not the richest people. We don't
Yeah.
have the most money, but our work is something that everybody sees and everybody
Yeah.
can discuss. So people always want us to be around in their parties and all that, because they will say, oh, meet so and so, my sister-in-law, she's done this ad, and then everybody will say, oh, you did this ad. Similarly with Nikhil, oh, you shot with Mary Com, what was she like? So people enjoy having us
Yeah.
around, because what are their jobs? No, they just counted money, or they no, I'm being mean.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That our jobs are
Yeah,
more
yeah.
interesting. So we as people tend to be more interesting, and people like to have us around. So
Yeah,
I feel that is one of the perks of advertising. And especially when in the 80s we really lived a glamorous life, you know, like we used to have offsites in Bangkok and, which is all that is gone now. People today have offsites in Powai. Out of office where you go, Renaissance Powai. We used to go to Bangkok, we used to go to Sri Lanka, we used to go to London for our, to travel first class. I remember going for a RIN workshop in Sao Paulo in Brazil and traveling first class. And sitting next to me was this woman. And she was also traveling alone. So we got talking. And so she's asking me where I was going. So I said, I'm going to Brazil and she asked me what? And I said, for a laundry workshop. So she asked me, what does it mean? I said, like, there is this brand where it's sold in different countries under different names. She says, but this is a washing powder, detergent. So I said, yes. And you're going to Brazil. It didn't even strike me as odd till she pointed it out to me. Do you realize how lucky you are that you're going to Brazil to discuss a detergent powder? But yes, I am very grateful to advertising that I've been to Sao Paulo to discuss RIN. I've been to London to discuss Lux, and it's been good.
Like, again, like, the story of like Shah Rukh Khan and the Lux.
Yeah.
Like that, if you have any interesting bit, if you'd like to share.
More recently, we got Ranveer Singh. not Ranveer, but Ranveer Singh for Kellogg's Masala Oats. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd written a very nice, funny script for him. And he was very cute, and, you know, he was rehearsing and doing it very well and all that. And with clients, usually they don't come for the shoot. They leave it to you. But whenever there's a celebrity, you notice that the clients have a desire to come for the shoot, but they also hesitate. So the managing director of Kellogg's was a lady called Sangeeta Pendulkar, very smart, tough as nails, and very brilliant lady. She called me and said, you know, please make sure he gets the brand correct, and this is what the brand is all about and all that. And I could sense that she actually wants to come for the shoot. So I said, Sangeeta, come for the shoot. Who better than you, the MD, to explain the thing? And Ranveer Singh is really full of fun. He's constantly pulling my legs. So I told him the MD of Kellogg's is coming. Behave yourself. Okay. So be nice to her and all that. So he said, yeah, don't worry. You think I can't behave myself and all that. So when Sangeeta came, we were in the middle of a shoot. He saw the door opening. He ran towards her. I was thinking, now what is he going to do? And he suddenly started singing, तूने मारी एंट्री और दिल में बजी घंटी और ting 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 ting, and Sangeeta started laughing, and I really wish we had placed some cameras to shoot that, you know. It was too funny, but she was so totally charmed and floored. So that's what I'm saying, you know, this is the conviction. He's listening to me, behave yourself and all, but he's decided what he's going to do. And it was the right thing to do, actually, because he's giving her so much of importance, and she was totally charmed of her feet. And so this was a really funny incident, and we had great fun shooting the rest of that shoot.
I think that's it. But a question I ask every guest, like it's been a patent of it, and that's like a idea of it as a kissebazi. It is like I don't want you to be associated as just an advertiser or a creative director or a copywriter. You're more than that. You have, like, we have talked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
So who is Nandita Chalu other than a copywriter, a creative director, an advertiser? I'm sure there will be much more.
So
to it.
many. I mean, right now the big role is mother of a newly married son. Now mother-in-law, new role. Yes. But, you know, I've spent like 33 years in advertising, so I cannot remove that from it. So that the writer is very, very important in me. Not so much creative director, vice president, all that, just writer. The fact somebody who can write, I hope I can always keep that. And the mother, and I hope I can be a good mother-in-law, not be the typical saas bahu wali mother-in-law.
Drama.
Yeah. And yes, not be so worried all the time about, you know, the kids and their future and all that. I think sab kuch theek ho jayega, which that's my motto.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much for giving us the time, and it was really refreshing talking to you.
Yeah. I try to be as honest and authentic as possible.
I think they also enjoyed, and everybody was like,